Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, verses 11 to 15.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Ashocyananvashocastvam Prajnavadhamsha bhashase Gatasunagatasumscha Nanushocanti panditaha Natvevaham jatunasam Natvam nimi janadhipaha Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha Sarve vayamatah param Dehinosmin yatha dehe Kaumaram yauvanam jara Tatha dehantara praptihi Dhirastatra namuyati Matra sparshastu kaunteya Shitoshna sukha dukkadaha Agamapayino nityaha Tam stitikshasva bharata Yam hi navyathayantyete Purusham purusharshabha Samadukha sukham dhiram Somrutatvaya kalpate.
We have seen verse number 11 and 12 last week. In this portion from verse 11 to 30, the topic is indestructibility of the Atman, the self. Every human being is made up of the material components and the spirit, matter and spirit. Spirit is what we call as Atma in Sanskrit, or we say self in English also. And the material components are the physical body, which is housed with 5 organs of perception and 5 organs of action. And then we have the mind, which is the seat of emotions, desires, likes and dislikes, impulses. Then we have the intellect, which is the faculty that can reason, judge, discriminate, analyze, decide. So, the body, mind, intellect put together is the matter, and it is enlivened by the self. Material component by itself is insentient. By itself it is insentient. It is made up of the 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. And all are insentient. It is made up of these 5 elements only. And when the self enlivens the material component, there is the reflected self, the reflected individual. That reflected individual, or the reflected individuals are many, but the self is only one. Like the sun above is one, and when it falls on various reflecting medium, there are different reflected suns. If the reflecting medium is clean, the reflected sun will be clean. If the reflecting medium is dirty, the reflected sun will be dirty. Similarly, depending upon the quality of the mind, the reflection will be in different individuals. And to identify with each and every individual, and for transactional purpose, each individual has been given a name, like address. If I am sending a letter to a particular person, it will help if I write the address, isn't it? If I just write Puneet and Vasant Vihar. There may be so many Puneets in Vasant Vihar. So there has to be proper address. And supposing in the same address there are 2-3 different Puneets, right? Puneet Shah, Puneet Sharma, Puneet Gupta. So the name is given for identification and transactional purpose. But over a period of time, due to ignorance, we identify with this name. We identify with our caste. We identify with our sex. We identify with our profession. And then start imagining ourselves to be that. You understand? So, therefore, we think this individual, which took birth on so and so date, which will expire someday. We may not know the expiry date. So, we think we are subjected to birth, subjected to death, and all these changes that happens in between. Disease, decay, growth, etc. You understand? So, this is the view or idea of an ignorant person about oneself and the other beings. Whereas the wise doesn't view that way. The wise look at it from a totally different angle. They understand that you are the self, everyone is essentially the divinity expressing through this various material components, right? Appearing to be different, but essentially only one, which has no birth, no death. Therefore, the wise people do not grieve. This is what he said. Asocyan anvashochastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasun agatasun na anushochanti panditaha. The wise people do not grieve. They grieve neither for the people who have come into birth, because they are going to go through all the difficulties or whatever, nor are they going to grieve for those people who are dead and gone, because they understand the truth. They look at it from a totally different angle. So therefore he says, Arjuna, you have been speaking words of wisdom, but where is wisdom in your action? You are grieving. You have allowed your emotions to come into the way of your duty. That should not happen. You should have emotions. We have said that in the past also in the class. When you study Vedanta and understand the knowledge, you will have emotions, but you will never be emotional. So you will go through joy, sorrow, everything. It is not as if you will not go through those emotions. Pain, pleasures, everything you will go through. But you won't allow them to affect your personality, affect your daily duties, responsibilities. Whereas that is what Arjuna didn't do. He allowed the emotions to take over. Luckily he realized it. That's why he says, Karpanya dosha upahata swabhavaha. My nature has been overpowered by the taint of pity. So why is this happening? Because of your ignorance of your true nature. You imagine yourself to be this limited individual, and therefore you get into all these complications. So he says in verse number 12, he says, never indeed was I not, nor you, nor these rulers of men, having been, none of us will cease to be hereafter. So again, he is trying to explain to us from the point of view of the I only. When we use the word I, where are we identifying? What is the identification? Is it upon the body? Is it upon the mind? Is it upon the intellect? What is it? When you see an ignorant person is identifying only with this body, mind, intellect complex. Whereas he says, the real I never ceases to be. It always exists. That's why we say, one of the pointers for Brahman. See, Brahman and Atman, these words you must get used to. Both are one and the same. Both means the pure consciousness. We use the word Atman with reference to the individual. We use the word Brahman with reference to the total. You understand? But both are one and the same. So, the I, the real I is nothing but the pure consciousness which has no birth, which has no death, which continues to be the same. So in Swamiji's commentary also is given explanation with reference to childhood, youth, old age. Waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Now, when you were a child, you say, I am a child. Then you grow and become a young person and you say, I am a young man. Then you grow old and say, I am an old man. The child is different from the youth. Youth is different from the old person. But the I continues to be the same. So, even though these changes are happening, the I continues to be the same. Similarly, now you are in the waking state saying, I am the waker. Right? And then when you go to the dream state, you are experiencing completely different. For example, in the waking state, you may be very well employed, or maybe you are owning an industry, given job to so many people, very well married, settled, everything is fine. Children are studying well, everything going on fine. But in the dream, you may be thinking that you are unemployed, not married, going through certain disease, completely different experience. So today when you are in the, now when you are in the waking state, you say, I am the waker. Then when you go to the dream state, you say, I am the dreamer. Then when you go to the deep sleep, you are neither the waker nor the dreamer. You are the deep sleeper, experiencing nothing. Because in deep sleep there is no mind, so you experience nothing. Right? So you identify with the deep sleeper and you reject both the waking state and dream state. Though these experiences are different, the I continues to be the same. So therefore, O Arjuna, what are you talking about, man? The I always exists. So when we talk about the pointer for that Brahman, one of the most important pointer we talk about for Brahman or Atman is absolute existence. What is it called? Absolute existence. Sat. We say Sat, Chit, Ananda. I would like you to add the word absolute before this. You understand? Sat means absolute existence. Chit means absolute consciousness, pure consciousness. Bliss means infinite, unintercepted bliss. That is the nature of the true self in me, in you and all of us, which is only one. It is only reflected as though it is different in every being. You understand? This is the concept. Now, when the self reflects, there is a reflected individual. That reflected individual is addressed as embodied, who has been given the name right now, Puneet, Prachi, Zanab, Lakshmi Narayan, etc. You understand? So now, this embodied person, who is he or she? Bundle of vasanas. Each one of us are different, isn't it? Somebody is a painter, somebody is a dancer, somebody is a sportsman, somebody is an engineer, somebody is a doctor, lawyer, chartered accountant, etc. Why? Because our set of vasanas are different. Vasanas comes from the root vas. Vas means fragrance, which comes from the past. When we constantly think about something, it creates a certain impressions, and the impressions over a long period of time starts becoming vasana. You understand? All of us are nothing but bundle of vasanas. Okay? And these vasanas express as thought in our intellect. Then the thought further manifests as desires in our mind. And the desires further manifest as action in our physical body. Through the physical body, we perform action. While acting, behind the action there is mind, there is buddhi. You understand? So, while acting, we are constantly thinking about something or the other, let us say. Then, we are going to be forming further vasanas. So, in chronology of action, which is nicely given in the book Vedanta Treatise by Swamiji, some of you, if you are interested in attending Vedanta Treatise class, you can join my class on Saturdays. Saturday morning, 8 to 9, it's a purely online class. So we have completed this chronology of action and everything there, but every now and then we keep repeating it in the class, so you won't miss much. So the chronology of action is what? From the vasana comes the thought. From the thought comes the desire. From the desire comes the action. And from the action further comes the, again, vasanas. So this cycle continues. Vasana, thought, desire, action, vasana again. Then thought, desire, action, vasana again. This cycle has to be broken. Otherwise you will be creating more and more vasanas. When you create more and more vasanas, accordingly there will be thought, accordingly there will be desires, accordingly there will be action. Then you need environment to go and do the action. So you will be born from one environment to another environment to another. You understand? So, for example, you are born here because you have vasana to study Vedanta. Once that vasana is over, accordingly, whatever next vasana you have, you will be born in a different environment after 12 o'clock. Whatever is the next vasana. Right? So this vasana takes us from one birth to another to another. So till we exhaust all the vasanas. So that is why in Vedanta we say, very important formula, God or divinity or the self plus vasanas is equal to human beings. All of us are what? God plus vasanas. One particular set of vasanas, Puneet. Another set of vasanas, Prachi. Another set, Sirish. Like that. So God plus vasanas equals human being. Now, human being should realize the fact that I am actually the divinity playing fool. This is what Emerson says. Emerson says, every man is God playing fool. All of us are what? Divinity playing hide and seek game. Hiding and expressing as Puneet. Hiding and expressing as Sirish. And when Sirish is ignorant about it, when Puneet is ignorant about it, they identify with that Sirish personality and Puneet personality. And when Puneet is nice to Sirish, he says, my good friend. When Sirish finds that he is not so nice to me, he is my enemy, all this is happening. You understand? So these vasanas is the difference. So God plus vasanas equals man. Man means woman also. Then man minus vasanas equals God. So we have to learn the technique while living in this world, learn the technique of not creating fresh vasanas and exhaust the existing vasanas. Okay. So when all the vasanas are removed, what will be there? Only divinity. I realize that I am the self. Right? This is what they are saying. So now, when an individual has exhausted all the vasanas, a question may come. So that means what? He will die. She will die. Once she has become divinity, for which we give the example. When you switch on a fan, and the fan is running at, let's say, 3 speed or 5 speed, you switch it off. Does it come to a halt immediately? Even though the fan is switched off, it doesn't come to halt immediately. Why? Because of the momentum. Right? Similarly, we have only switched off what we call as Sanchita Vasana. Sanchita means total vasanas. But there are set of vasanas which propelled us to this birth. What they call as Prarabdha Vasanas. We can talk about these things in detail little later. But there is a reason why I am explaining all this now. Because we are going to the next few shlokas. So you should know these things. So due to the Prarabdha Vasanas, the momentum is continuing. Even though we have switched off all the other Sanchita Vasanas. Right. Then as long as that momentum Prarabdha continues, the person continues. Such people are called as wise people in the context which Sri Krishna is referring to. Wise people do not grieve. Then you will wonder, no, if they have become wise, vasanas are gone, then that fellow should have died. Now what is he saying? They don't grieve. They should be alive to be grieving, or not grieving. You get my point, why I am explaining this. So when a person has exhausted the vasanas, when we say, what we mean is, we mean all the other vasanas have been exhausted. See, you have so much of your money you have deposited in different ways, you deposited in one different fixed deposits in different banks. At different times you have done it. Some have matured today. Many are not yet matured. Similarly, out of the total vasanas that you've gathered for many janmas, right? Some have matured and given birth to this particular janma. You are born here. Now, once you are born as a human being, you can either add to those total vasanas or exhaust. Now, through Vedantic study and practices, if you exhaust all the vasanas, you would have exhausted the total sanchita vasanas. But prarabdha will get exhausted naturally through experience. How long it will continue, we don't know. Some people after realization lived for few years. Some people lived for many years. That depends upon their prarabdha vasana. And each individual's vasana style, nature was different. So, Saint Tyagaraya was continuously singing. Swami Ramtirtha was only lecturing, etc. So, Swami Ramana Maharishi hardly spoke. Mostly he kept quiet. Each one's nature is different. According to their nature they expressed. But whatever they expressed, they all identified with the Atma and they lived thereafter. Is this clear? So, till the vasanas are not exhausted, what happens? When the environment is not conducive for you to exhaust the vasanas. See, I used to conduct class in SX forms here. The classes used to be in the mornings. So, morning SX forms class is Gita class. So, I used to tell in the class, morning you are all coming because the sattva is predominant. They are coming for the Gita class. Evening some of you may be coming there for different reasons. You understand? Because tamas takes over, So, when the vasanas change, this room is not conducive for you. So, what will you do? You will give up this room and go to another room which is conducive for you, no? Are you with me? So, from the Atma angle, there is no birth, no death. Now, from the individual reflected, embodied point of view, also there is nothing to grieve. That he explains in the next shloka. Let's get on to shloka number 13.
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यते.
Just as the embodied passes through childhood, youth, old age in this body, so does it pass into another body. There the wise one is not grieved. So from the absolute point of view, the I is constantly existing. It never came into manifestation, nor is it going to go into unmanifestation. The I constantly exists. From the absolute point of view. Now from the relative point of view, what happens? I found this room very hot. So I say, sorry, I can't live in this room anymore. You guys continue. I go to another room where there is air conditioner available. Now, people who are ignorant, they say, Lakshmi Narayan is missing. They sit and cry. But those who understand, what do they see? Oh, he's gone, choosing the environment that is conducive for himself. You understand? So that is what he is saying. Just as the embodied meaning the Atma embodied by this body, mind, intellect. Now, somebody asked me in the beginning, sir, I already have different Gita books. Should I buy Swamiji's book? I said, doesn't matter. You have your book if you want to, but I recommend you buy Swamiji's book if you can. Because, and also if you decide to attend our classes regularly. One of the reason, if you see, for example, in the translation of the book, the word embodied is with small e. And then when he says it, that is also with small I. If the word is referring to the Atma, the self, he will use the word with capital E, capital I. It is not talking about the Atma. Atma doesn't go from one body to another. Please understand this. Atma doesn't go from one body to another. Some of you might have seen some movies where when the person is killed, some light is moving from that body and going to some other body. So Atma is moving. Atma, when you say, God, when you say, you are meaning something which is infinite, which means it is all pervading. It is everywhere. How can there be movement possible when it is everywhere? Movement is possible only from a place where you are to a place where you are not. So there is no question of Atma moving. You understand? So Atma doesn't move. The subtle body, the vasanas, has moved from one gross body to another in the medium of consciousness. So death is beautifully defined in Vedanta as what? Transference of subtle body, the mind and intellect, along with the causal body, vasanas, from one gross body to another gross body in the medium of pure consciousness. Is this clear? What is death? Transference of subtle body along with causal body. Subtle body means mind and intellect. Causal body means vasanas. Transference of subtle body along with causal body from one gross body to another gross body in the medium of Atma, the pure consciousness. When it is moved from here to there, it stops reflecting here, it starts reflecting there. But when you are ignorant, you sit and cry. But if you are wise, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Zero loss theory. कोई loss नहीं. You understand? What you thought is lost here is actually not lost. It is lost from your angle, but it is not lost. It continues till the complete vasanas are exhausted. Even then there is no loss because it is now become the I. So where is the loss? Are you with me? But at the same time, when that individual was manifesting, we have had a lot of association with that individual. So many memories, good, bad, everything. Right? So that does bring us into a situation where there is a separation. That does give us a little bit of sad feeling. That is all right. Vedanta doesn't say you should not have that sad feeling. If it says that, then you should be cautious. I don't want to study Vedanta because it will take away my emotions. It will make me dry. No, it doesn't do that. You understand? So you do understand, yeah, what a nice person he was or she was. What a lovely experience I had. I do miss that person. I do have those memories. It does bring certain feelings. But when those feelings are underlined by this knowledge that I am learning, what happens? It will not become grief. When those feelings are not underlined by knowledge, it will become grief. You understand? That's all it is. So, from the absolute point of view, no loss. From the relative point of view, no loss. So that is what he is saying. The embodied moves from childhood to youth to old age. Like that, it moves from one body into another. And that another body it takes for what purpose? Because this body is not conducive for it anymore. So from that person's point of view, it's a welcome decision. Are you with me? From that person's point of view. You are missing. So many a times, the grief and all that is due to ignorance and selfishness. I am missing that company. It would have been better that I have gone first than that person. My company is taken, like a doll has been removed from a child's hands. Somebody has taken it away. So when you get this knowledge, you understand, for that being, you understand that nothing is lost. Yes, they've gone in that direction. So you also move in your direction. You have your vasanas to deal with. your life to deal with, you move on. Temporarily, when we all come together, it's a nice association. Let us try to make each other more happy. See, when you talk about relationship, primarily what is relationships? Relationship is division and addition or multiplication. Multiplying each other's happiness. Right? Multiply each other's happiness. Divide the sorrow. When somebody is going through some difficult period, you say, hey, come on man, what's your problem? You're going through some financial crisis. We are there, no? What is the problem? Let's all pull in some money. It's okay. When you get that, you can return. Or even doesn't matter if you don't return. So you are dividing the sorrow. You are multiplying the happiness when we are there. You understand? And then keep moving. Why you have to get stuck? A wise person keeps moving. Unwise person gets stuck. So I give the class, I give this quotation. It is that slogan of a particular product, little inauspicious product in the spiritual context. Johnny Walker, keep walking. He says, Johnny Walker, keep walking is the slogan they say. So you got to keep moving. Don't get stuck. Arjuna got stuck. Are you with me? So therefore he says, a wise person understands this. Just as the embodied, which is with small e. Whenever it is small e means what? What is he referring to? The reflected consciousness, RC. If it was pure consciousness, he would have mentioned capital E. So the embodied, the vasanas, which has manifested and apparently embodied. See, now another thing. When you say embodied, you should also use the word carefully, as though. Strictly speaking, Atma cannot be embodied. It appears to be embodied. Atma cannot be embodied. It appears to be embodied. See, the sun above is there and the cloud seems to cover the sun from your angle, from wherever you are. When you look at the sun, it appears as if the sun is covered. But can the clouds really cover the sun? Can the clouds really cover the sun? No. But from your angle, it appears as if it is covering the sun. Similarly, in fact, the very clouds are formed because of sun's heat. Due to sun's heat, the clouds are formed and then it appears as if it is covering. Similarly, the very existence of the Atma or Brahman leaves the potential of not understanding Brahman as Brahman, and then you misunderstand Brahman as Brahman and you understand yourself wrongly as XYZ and you call yourself embodied. Actually, Atma is not embodied. It is all your imagination. You understand? From this relative level, it appears to be embodied. And then it's going through different stages. Childhood, youth, old age in this body. Then when it finds this body not so conducive to exhaust the existing vasanas, it gives up this body and takes another one at the appropriate time. At the appropriate time. So does it pass into another body. There the wise one not grieved. So whichever way you look at it, there is no problem. Whichever way you look at it, there is absolutely no problem. So now, slowly now it goes little more practical. Okay, now you are in this body. When you are in this body, you will be living in the world, meeting with various challenges of life. How do you have to live? Because living here, you should be enjoying the life here as well as exhausting vasanas and moving towards the self. Are you with me? This is called proper way of living. While living here, you should be enjoying your contacts and you should be moving towards the self. How to do that, he explains in the next shloka. Shloka number 14.
Matra sparshastu kaunteya Shitoshna sukha dukkadaha Agamapayino nityaha Tam stitikshasva bharata.
Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Kaunteya is who? Arjuna. Kunti putra. O Arjuna, son of Kunti. When the senses contact the sense objects, in other words, your five senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin, these five senses contact the respective objects. The sense contacts, O Kaunteya, when they contact, what does it experience? It experiences set of pairs of opposites, isn't it? So, which cause heat and cold. Now, in Delhi, it is heat. After a few months, it will be cold. So, when the Atma is expressing through the body and the embodied individual contacting the world, the individual goes through what? Pairs of opposites, called as dvandvas in Sanskrit. So, he gives one example. When the physical body contacts the world, it goes through heat and cold. And then he says, pleasure and pain. Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha. Now, heat and cold, the individual goes through at the physical level. Now, this heat and cold sometimes gives pleasure, sometimes gives pain. Heat in April, May, June, July gives pain. Heat during December, January in Delhi gives pleasure. So, he says, Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha. That is happening internally. That is happening where? Shita and Ushna is happening externally. Heat and cold is happening externally. But where the pleasure and pain is happening? In your head, in your mind. Right? So, heat sometimes gives you pleasure, sometimes gives you pain. Cold sometimes gives you pleasure, sometimes pain. So, inside we go through another set of pairs of opposites which keeps changing. Pleasure doesn't stay all the time. Pain also doesn't stay all the time. And when the individual meets the world, the individual will be going through these set of pairs of opposites at all level. Heat, cold, pleasure, pain, honor, dishonor, censure, praise, joy, sorrow. ये चलता रहता है. Understand? So what should you do? He says, please understand, analyze, what category do they belong to? He says, agama payinaha anityaha. They are something that come and go. They come and go. Isn't it? Heat comes and goes. Cold comes and goes. Pleasure comes and goes. Pain comes and goes. They are not permanent. They are all what? Anityaha. Nitya means permanent. Anitya means impermanent. Since they are impermanent, what you should do? Endure them. Tam titikshasva bharata. Oh Arjuna, you belong to this country called Bharat. Bhasi Rata. One who revels in the light of consciousness. Knowledge. You understand? So with this knowledge, you should put up with inconvenience cheerfully. Not allow these pairs of opposites to make you lose balance. Are you with me? This is a beautiful shloka. Very often quoted shloka it is. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payinaha anityaha tam titikshasva bharata. Be clear what is nitya, what is anitya. This is not permanent. It will come. But the problem is, we think we want only pleasure, pain should not be there. That is not possible. World means pairs of opposites. It will bring both pleasure as well as pain. So what is happening is, we want only pleasure, so we fight with pain. And when pleasure comes also, we won't be happy. Why? I don't want it to go. I hope it stays. Thoda aur stay karo. Thoda aur. You understand? So, therefore, we are all preoccupied with what? Pain. We miss even when the pleasure comes. Whereas, a person who is wise, he enjoys both. Because whether it is pleasure or pain, the attention is not upon pleasure and pain. That person's attention is always upon the Atman. You understand? So, therefore, that person is able to put up with these inconveniences cheerfully. See, this word titiksha is one of the qualities of a student who wish to realize the self. Now, you can study Bhagavad Gita to learn how to live in this world. You can study Bhagavad Gita to learn how to live in this world, also simultaneously to liberate and attain moksha. Bhagavad Gita is called as Dharma Shastra as well as Moksha Shastra. It will teach you how to live. It will also teach you how to live in such a way that you exhaust the vasanas and realize the self. Liberate, attain moksha. Now, to be able to enjoy this world also, you need this titiksha. At the same time, to be able to go and realize the self also, you need this titiksha. See, anything great you want to achieve in life, if small things can affect you, then how will you achieve that? What is for breakfast? What is for lunch? If that is what we are most of the time thinking, you understand? Like in the ashram, we don't ask what is there for lunch. Whatever they give, we pray and take it as prasad. It is not that you don't have your set of likes and dislikes. You do have your set of likes and dislikes. Are you with me? But the focus is upon the goal. Are you with me? So, Bhagavad Gita will give a direction in life. It will make you set a goal and focus on that. The moment you set your goal and focus on that, tremendous energy you will have. You find out anybody. Like Mahatma Gandhiji, when you see in some of these documentaries, Dandi Yatra, he is leading and he is walking very fast. Some of the youngsters are trying to catch up with him. At that age, how is he walking so fast? From where are they getting that energy? The greater the goal, the greater the energy. The more selfish, self-centered the goal, you understand, the lesser the energy. One person apparently met Swamiji many years ago, my guru, in Mumbai, businessman, and said, Swamiji, all very depressing, all policies of the government very bad, business nahi chal pa raha hai, ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai, all nonsense is happening. All the time he is talking only about negative. And then he says, it seems, I feel like committing suicide, going on repeating it. After some time, Swamiji said, got fed up and said, why don't you then commit suicide? Because all the time he is saying, no energy, this is not happening, I lost energy. Then Swami said, why don't you commit suicide? No energy, Swamiji, for that also. So in other words, how come you lose energy? When you were a small child, you had tremendous energy. Here, Puneet has a pet dog, Messi. He is just unbelievable. And runs around, so much energy. Right? We were like that when we were children. Sometimes when some class members, they are so interested to come to the class, but they have to bring their kids, nobody to take care. So when they bring them, it's very difficult to control them, So there's so much energy they have. You also, when you were a small child, had so much energy. Ab kahan chale gaya sara energy? What has happened to all that energy? You understand? So, put up with inconvenience cheerfully. When you can put up with inconvenience cheerfully? When you identify with the higher goal. Okay, when you meet in the world, these pairs of opposites will be there. Sometimes things are according to my likes, it will be pleasurable. Sometimes things are not according to my likes, it will be painful. But I must endure the pain, and I must also understand this pleasure also will not stay for long. So why should I identify with this thing which is impermanent? Why can't I identify with something which is permanent and play in this impermanent world? If you see some children sometimes, they'll be holding on to a pillar, nicely holding on to the pillar and going around the pillar swinging themselves. Have you seen that? So like that, Sri Krishna is telling here, hold on to the permanent aspect Atma and swing around in the world. You understand? When pleasure comes, enjoy that. When pain comes, enjoy that also. Understand, both are temporary visitors. They are agama payinaha. They come and go. In fact, when you say they come and go, what does it mean? What it means is they are already going. They are always in the path of going. You understand? They are not permanent. See, it's like this. You are standing, in front there is pleasure. You get so excited, pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. But what you are not realizing is, a cycle chal raha hai. Beech mein aap hai. You are in between. And there is a cycle going on around you. When the cycle is going around, and something is circulating around you, now pleasure has come in front, which means what? Pain is at the back. Okay. So then, after some time, pain comes. Then you get dejected. But if you are wise, what you will understand? If the Sensex is gone down, it's going to come back. So they say, no, if you are a good investor, you will educate yourself, you will read the company balance sheet, everything you will read, you will know about them, everything, and then only you will invest. In good times and bad times you invest. Isn't it? In the bad times, in fact, you will be very happy. When the market value has gone down, you will buy more. Because you know, principally, everything is fine with that company. And the rate has gone down. Okay, no problem, I'll buy. You will be very happy. Right? Because it's a cycle. What is permanent? The way they run their business, their principles. Do they compromise on that? You understand? So when any management changes, that's what you are concerned. Now how this fellow is going to run the business? Sometimes the family run business. Father is running in a particular way. Then the son takes over. Right? Now initially, you don't know how he will run. You understand? So you wait. If he also, you find that he is fine, then your confidence in the business is reassured. You understand? Exactly like that he's saying. So there is this self, Atma, which is you, and then it is come to play now, this game of life, and while it is playing this game of life, when it meets, it will be meeting pleasure, pain. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes it's pleasurable, sometimes it's painful. These pairs of opposites you will be going through, but none of them are permanent. Yesterday, I don't know how many of you were watching that match, IPL. Royal Challengers Bangalore versus Gujarat Titans. My son is a big fan of Virat Kohli and RCB. He's been praying for the last so many years to RCB to win. They have never won, So yesterday he was so excited when Gujarat got out on 148 and RCB was almost 92 for no loss. And then there were some 114 or something for 6 wickets. 115 something for 6 wickets. He got so dejected. I was about to chant Matra Sparsha. He would have slapped me. You understand? Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkha Daha Agama Painaha Anityaha. But I was telling him, relax, yaar. What are you getting so excited about? They are getting out, hitting the same shot. The ball is going to the same fielder, So it was so funny yesterday. So I'm just connecting it. Every day this is happening to us. Every second, every minute it's happening to us. If you understand this shloka, then you won't get involved. That's all it is. You would put up with inconvenience cheerfully. Okay, now the situation is like this. In this situation, if there is something I can do which can bring about certain change, I will do. Why should I not do? What is wrong? For example, the outside temperature is hot. We are doing this class here. So we could put on the ACs. We can afford, we have put on the ACs. If we can't put on the AC, we will do something else. If we can't do something else, if we can't do anything, then what is the option we are left with? To go through that cheerfully. You understand? So, that serenity prayer is there, no? How does it go? It says, oh God, give us the strength, give us the strength to accept the things that we cannot change. Give us the ability to change the things that we can change. Right? And give us the courage to, give us the wisdom to know the difference. Give us the courage to put up with the things that we cannot change. Give us the ability to change the things that we can change. And give us the wisdom to know the difference. What we can change, what we cannot change. So understand, when something happens, okay, the pure consciousness functioning through this body, mind, intellect, Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan is contacting the world. When he is contacting, now things doesn't seem to be good because weather is like this, it's very hot. So what he can do? Okay, these are all I can do. These are all things that I cannot do. It's very clear. So things that I can do, I focus on what all I can do. What I cannot do, I accept. So the external setup doesn't have the strength or capacity to upset me. But today that is not what is happening. Every little thing is upsetting me. In the positive way also, in the negative way also. Some people, when they have certain heart issues, doctor will tell you, don't tell that person even something very good also, very bad also. It will break the news very slowly, little by little. Don't go and tell that fellow something very good also. He may get excited and he may die. Our condition is like that today. Why? This is because we do not have this simple knowledge. That's all he says. So remember this shloka. Matras parshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payinaha anityaha tam titikshasva bharata. If you say, I'm son of this country, son. One of the most important contributions that this country has given is this knowledge. I must have this knowledge. You understand? So then where is the problem? So from the relative angle, there is no problem. From the absolute angle, there is no problem. But where is the problem? The problem is only one. What? You are ignorant. You are ignorant. If you gain the knowledge, if you understood that, you digested that knowledge, to that extent, the life that seems to be so burdensome today will become very light. World is same, life is same, challenges are same, everything same, nothing has changed. What has changed? You're inside, you've got the knowledge. So what was so difficult, cumbersome, burdensome, now has become very light, very easy. How this happened? A simple understanding. This portion, that's why I said, is also called as what? Atma, Anatma, Viveka. Atma, Anatma, Viveka. Meaning, what is Atma? What is Anatma? What is the self? What is the non-self? So there is Atma, the self. There is Anatma, the non-self. And there is the combination, the reflected self, which is you, me, and all of us. Right? So we have to live, continue living. How to live? This is the way to live. You cannot have only pleasure. you cannot have only pain. Pleasure comes means पीछे pain आ रहा है. Pain has come means पीछे pleasure definitely will come. So if you want only joy, you have to become indifferent or become apart from both pleasure and pain. If you take sides, you will suffer. It is impossible in life that you will have only pleasure all the time. Not possible. Are you with me? So if you really want bliss, you have to understand this knowledge and stay apart from both pleasure and pain. Now, if you have developed this quality, this titiksha, as I said, this is one of the most important qualities of a sadhak to attain liberation. See, if supposing you say, I want to liberate, I don't want anything else, I want to only focus in studying this knowledge and gain this knowledge and liberate the self, enough is enough. Supposing you say that. Adi Shankara gives certain qualities. You should have certain qualities to be a student. For anything there is qualification, right? So, if you have those qualifications, you can achieve this, which is called Viveka, Vairagya, Shatsampati and Mumukshatva. Viveka means discrimination. What is permanent? What is impermanent? Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vicharam. So a student should have this. As a result of this, the student should have Vairagya, detachment from all the Anitya. Towards all the Anitya, he should have Vairagya. And he should have Shat Sampati, sixfold qualifications. Shama, Dama, Uparama, Shraddha, Titiksha, Samadhanam. These six put together is the third qualification. What are they? Shama, Dama. Dama means sense control. Shama means mind control. Right? Shama, Dama. And then you should have some amount of sense control, some amount of mind control. Minimum you should have put your mobile phone in silent mode or put it in switched off mode. Minimum, that much control you should have. Right? So, Shama, Dama, sense control, mind control, Uparama, reveling within. We'll discuss about these things in detail later on in some other class. Then Shraddha. Shraddha is loosely translated as faith. It is actually faith in the words of the Guru and the Shastra, which means it is not just a superficial faith. You have faith in the words of the Shastra, the Guru, and you take it up till you realize that truth yourself, till you make it your own. So Shraddha is faith plus conviction plus consistency till you bring about the transformation. Like for example, Shastras are telling you today, you are not Sirish, you are not Punit, you are Atma. At the moment, lot of logics, reason is given. With that you develop this faith. And slowly you make that as your conviction. Right? And then you consistently start putting in effort till Punit exhausts all the Sanchita Vasana and realizes the self. That quality is called Shraddha. You understand? And then Titiksha, putting up with inconvenience cheerfully, which is what we are discussing. And then Samadhana, mental equanimity. All these qualities are the third one. Then there is fourth one. What is it? Mumukshatva. Burning desire to liberate. You must feel that you are bound. Then only you will want to liberate. Na? You are very comfortable. Why would you want to liberate? You are not at all thinking about liberation. So that burning desire to liberate. To the extent you have these fourfold qualifications, to that extent you are a student. So one of the qualities is Titiksha. So in the next shloka, which we will see next week, he is going to say, such a person alone is qualified to reach the self. Let's conclude the class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.